Chapter 1. Prologue: The Descent into Form. You were not born all at once. You arrived piece by piece, drawn through the sky, clothed in light, touched by flame, veiled by water. Before you had a name, a story, or a body, you passed through 7 gates. The ancients called them the 7 planetary spheres: Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sunday, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon. These are not simply celestial bodies. They are powers, lenses, filters of force. Each one shaped you on the way down, layer by layer, impression by impression, until you landed in the body you now wear. This is the chain of manifestation, a map of descent from pure spirit into matter. Every soul travels it, and not only souls, but dreams, intentions, desires. Anything that seeks to become real must pass through the same sequence. Each planet gives something. One gives memory, one gives rhythm, one gives will, one gives boundary, one gives longing. Together they form a system older than time, a pattern of becoming. This is not metaphor, and it is a blueprint, and it can be used. To understand the planetary gates is to understand how things take shape, how they enter the world. To work with them consciously is to move in rhythm with creation itself. A soul passed through them to arrive in a body, and a magician passes through them again, this time by choice. This is the heart of planetary magic, not superstition but structure, not fantasy but technique. Every desire you have follows the same path. To become real, it must take on form. To take form, it must pass through the spheres. Saturn gives it bones. Venus gives it beauty. Mercury gives it voice. Jupiter gives it scope. Mars gives it heat. The Moon makes it live. You can learn this rhythm, you can apply it. And more importantly, you can remember what was given to you and how to refine it. This journey is not just about knowledge. It is about initiation. Each planetary gate in this series will speak to something already alive inside you. Something inherited, something forgotten. Each one will offer insight, reflection, and a way to work with that force intentionally as a living current. This is not a textbook, it is not a lecture, it is a ritual, and you are already inside it. So begin with stillness, begin with breath, begin at the edge. The first gate is old. It is heavy. It governs time, memory, mortality, and form. Its silence is not absence, it is pressure, and it is law. Its name is Saturn. Chapter 2. Saturn, the gate of time and form. When you passed through the gate of Saturn, you were given weight. You were given the pressure of time, the law of limit, the edge of form. Saturn stands at the outermost edge of the visible sky. He is the threshold between the known and the unknown, the last planet visible to the naked eye, and for the ancients, the final authority. His ring is not a symbol, it is a sentence. What enters Saturn must take shape. What cannot endure is stripped away. To pass through Saturn is to accept boundaries, to be numbered, to be marked, to take on a specific place within a specific order. What Saturn gives is structure. It is gravity and consequence. It is the long arc of becoming, not through freedom, but through necessity. You received from Saturn the imprint of discipline, of silence, of self-containment. You learned what it meant to say no, to wait, to endure. In your body, Saturn appears as bones, as skin, as the frame that holds everything else in place. In the psyche, Saturn speaks through judgment, through solitude, through the cold clarity that comes when nothing is left but truth. You feel Saturn when time slows down, when there is no way forward except through, when something is demanded of you that no one else can carry, and when you answer it, not with fire but with stillness. In the world, Saturn appears as delay, as pressure, as the contracts you never read but must obey. He governs the institutions that endure, the clocks that measure your life, and the laws you only understand after they break you. He is not cruel, he is exact, and like all things exact, he can cut. When Saturn is denied, his weight accumulates in the shadows. You become brittle, rigid, afraid to try because you already know how it ends, or you try to escape responsibility, only to meet it again in harsher form. Saturn will always come back, not to punish but to finish what you left undone. To initiate through Saturn is not to fight him. It is to build something worthy of your own seriousness, to set limits that nourish, to let your silence become a form of power. Saturn asks that you mature, that you take responsibility not just for your survival but for your structure, for how you hold your time, your attention, your word. He does not reward quickly, but what he gives lasts. To work with Saturn magically is to work with the root of things. His day is Saturday. His hour comes in the early morning or late night, times when the world is quiet and the weight is most felt. His color is black or deep indigo. His metal is lead. His scent is myrrh. His number is 3. To honor Saturn, sit in stillness for longer than is comfortable. Write down what you fear and keep writing until it loses its shape. Take on a task you would usually delay and complete it with care. Offer structure to your own becoming. A calendar, a vow, a line drawn in the sand you refuse to cross again. Saturn is not moved by charm. He is not swayed by desire, but he will always recognize sincerity. When you make something real in his name, a habit, a pattern, a wall, you begin to walk with his current rather than under its weight. You can whisper his name into stone. You can offer him silence. You can light a single black candle and speak a truth you've been avoiding. That is all it takes. He will meet you there. Now take one breath and another. Feel the edge of your body and the gravity of your bones, the shape of the silence that surrounds you. This gate is not a wall, it is a foundation, and you are standing on it now. When you are ready, you may proceed to the next gate. It burns hotter, it moves faster, and it speaks in a language closer to thunder. Its name is Jupiter. Chapter 3, Jupiter, the gate of meaning and magnitude. When you passed through the gate of Jupiter, you were given space. You were given the need for more truth, more vision, more reach. You were given a hunger for coherence, not just to survive, but to understand why you were here. Jupiter is not the edge. He is the expanse. He is the widening sky, the upward turn, the wind that carries ships beyond the visible horizon. Where Saturn says, "This is the law," Jupiter asks, "What is the meaning of the law?" To pass through Jupiter is to be flooded with the potential of order, to be surrounded by ideas that long to be believed, to receive not only judgment but wisdom. What Jupiter gives is blessing, not comfort but favor, not ease but alignment with a greater current. He is the spirit of expansion, a vision large enough to hold contradiction. He teaches through story, through symbol, through systems that promise coherence beneath chaos. In your body, Jupiter shows up in breath, in liver, in blood that circulates freely. He governs health in the old sense, wholeness, integrity, right relationship. In the psyche, he is generosity, hope. He is the voice that says, "This has purpose. This will grow." Jupiter lives in how we seek to explain things, in the belief systems we inherit, the traditions we uphold, the dreams we pursue because they seem big enough to carry the weight of our lives. You feel Jupiter when you are filled with clarity, not just about what must be done, but why. When you act in accordance with something greater, something sacred, when you are entrusted with responsibility not to control, but to care. You feel him too in the surge of abundance and in the ache when it vanishes, in the stories that once gave you meaning and in the silence when they no longer fit. In the world, Jupiter rules institutions of knowledge, the courts, the priesthood, the old books that define morality. He governs both the monastery and the parliament, any place that decides what is true and why it matters. And he rules wealth, not just of coin, but of time, of wisdom, of trust. When misaligned, Jupiter becomes inflation, too much, too fast, too sure. Belief hardens into dogma, generosity becomes superiority, blessing becomes entitlement. When Jupiter is denied, hope shrinks, the world feels small, cynical. There's no larger vision to carry us, so we fall back into despair or distraction. To initiate through Jupiter is to become a student of wisdom, not a mouthpiece for belief. To embody largeness without excess, to bless without control, to offer meaning that nourishes, not commands. It is to practice discernment of what deserves faith and what only mimics it. Initiation into Jupiter is not about becoming more. It's about becoming wider, spacious, anchored in meaning, open to life's abundance without grasping at it. To work with Jupiter magically is to court divine order. His day is Thursday. His hour often falls at mid-morning when the world is awake and turning. His color is royal blue or deep gold. His metal is tin. His scent is saffron or frankincense. His number is 4. To honor Jupiter, make something beautiful and share it without expectation. Tell the truth to someone who needs to hear it. Make a vow to live in accordance with what you most deeply believe and keep it. Offer insight, not opinion, and offer prayer, not manipulation. Offer blessing without needing to be seen. You can call Jupiter by writing your dreams as if they've already come true. You can whisper his name into wide skies, open windows, long walks. You can plant something and bless its soil with intention. You can ask for expansion, but only if you're prepared to grow into it. He will open doors, but only the ones that require you to walk further than you thought you could. Now take a breath and another. Feel the space around your body. Feel the space inside your chest. This is Jupiter, not in symbol but in sensation. This gate expands you. It fills your lungs with vision. It reminds you that you are allowed to hope without shame. Carry that with you. And when you are ready, the next gate will open. It burns, it cuts, it sharpens. Its name is Mars. Chapter 4, Mars, the gate of force and fire. When you passed through the gate of Mars, you were given fire. You were given the force to move, the spark to resist, the edge that slices through passivity and makes space for action. Mars is the blade. He is not gentle, not forgiving, and not interested in comfort. He gives you the part of yourself that says no more, the part that says I will not be moved, the part that survives. To pass through Mars is to receive direction, not as a suggestion but as a surge. His gift is motion, friction, blood, and fire. He does not build, he clears. He does not console, he sharpens. He does not wait, he ignites. What Mars gives is will. Not abstract intention, but the will that moves the body. The will that rises when you've been pushed too far. The will to defend, to pursue, to begin. In the body, Mars lives in the muscles, in heat, in the rush of adrenaline. He governs the immune system, the power to fight what doesn't belong. In the psyche, he is raw drive, desire unfiltered. He is anger that burns clean when it's not repressed. He is courage, clarity, the refusal to become smaller to stay safe. You feel Mars when your blood rises, when you stand your ground, when you move without asking permission. You feel him when something inside you breaks through the polite mask and names what no one else will say. In the world, Mars governs warriors, weapons, competition, assertion, defense. He appears in military force, but also in protest. He rules emergency rooms, battlefields, battle cries, and burning bridges. But he also rules the fire that forges metal, the sharp word that ends a lie, the passion that breaks you open and demands you live more honestly. When misaligned, Mars turns to violence, to harm for its own sake, to power that conquers but does not care what's left behind. He becomes impulse without clarity, rage without aim, conflict as identity. And when Mars is denied, the fire goes inward. You become weak, passive. Your will leaks away or turns against you. Depression, numbness, seething resentment you never let yourself feel. To initiate through Mars is to learn what your energy is actually for. It is to know what hill is worth dying on and which ones are not. It is to wield power without being ruled by it, to feel anger without losing clarity, to pursue desire without needing to destroy everything in the way. Mars teaches through heat, but what he wants is precision. To embody Mars is not to explode, it is to cut cleanly, to move like a blade that knows exactly where to land, to strike without hatred, to burn without waste. To work with Mars magically is to awaken the focused fire inside you. His day is Tuesday. His hour often strikes around noon, when the sun is highest and the light is sharpest. His color is red. His metal is iron. His scent is tobacco or dragon's blood or cayenne. His number is 5. To honor Mars, do something difficult on purpose. Break a pattern you've been using to avoid yourself. Confront something directly and cleanly. Stop delaying what you know must begin. Offer him focus, not chaos. Offer him blood only if you understand what it means. Better, offer him a vow to act where you've stayed silent. To fight not against others, but against your own avoidance. You can call Mars by running until your lungs burn and then breathing deeper. You can whisper his name in moments of clarity, when you finally say what had to be said. You can leave an offering of rusted nails and red flowers at a crossroads and walk away knowing something just shifted. He will not pat your head, but he will give you your spine back. Now take a breath, and another. Feel the warmth in your belly, then the tension in your jaw, the part of you that wants to move. This gate is not a weapon, it is a flame, and it burns for a reason. When you are ready, the next gate will open. It is quieter, brighter. It waits not with fire, but with light. Its name is the Sun. Chapter 5. The Sun, the gate of radiance and identity. When you pass through the gate of the Sun, you were given a center. You were given the right to say, I am. Not as a concept, but as a flame. The Sun is not what you do. It is what you are when everything else is stripped away. It is the unshakable self, the inner sovereign, the golden thread that holds your life together through change. To pass through the Sun is to receive illumination, to be seen, to see yourself clearly, to be cast into light, not as exposure, but as emergence. The Sun does not whisper, it shines. He is constancy, visibility, and the force that gives life its shape. What the Sun gives is identity, not personality, not ego, but essence. Your solar imprint is the part of you that is always true, regardless of mood, memory, or mask. In the body, the Sun governs the heart. It rules circulation, warmth, and vitality. It is the gravitational center around which your life orbits. In the psyche, the Sun appears as self-trust, confidence without arrogance, clarity without performance, purpose that doesn't need to be proved. You feel the Sun when you're fully present, when you say yes and mean it, when you walk into a room and do not shrink, when your presence is its own proof. You also feel the Sun in quiet moments, when you act with integrity, even when no one sees. When you protect what matters, not for glory, but because it's right. When you know your name without needing it to be spoken aloud. In the world, the Sun appears in leaders, mentors, creators, those who light a path by walking it. He governs recognition, power, vitality, and the force of purpose. He is the gold standard, the inner light, the divine spark in visible form. When misaligned, the sun becomes performance. You chase validation instead of embodying truth. You burn too hot, needing every eye on you, or too dim, afraid to be seen. When the sun is denied, you hide behind roles. You lose the thread of your own direction. You forget what it feels like to simply be yourself, without apology or inflation. To initiate through the sun is to burn away illusion, to become centered, not inflated, to stand without armor because you are already whole. Solar initiation is not about becoming someone else. It is about returning to the source. The fire that has always been there, steady, bright, silent. To embody the sun is to live as a beacon. You don't chase power, you radiate it. You don't demand attention, you draw it naturally. Not because you're louder, but because you're aligned. To work with the sun magically is to cultivate sovereignty. His day is Sunday. His hour is high noon, when shadows are shortest and nothing is hidden. His color is gold. His metal is gold. His scent is frankincense or bay laurel. His number is 1 and 6. To honor the sun, do something that reflects your true self. Not what's expected, not what impresses, but what feels like standing in your own name. Offer clarity, offer attention, and offer leadership without control. Be visible, not as a brand, but as a presence. You can call the sun by speaking your truth out loud, once with no edits. You can whisper his name while holding your own face in the mirror, not with critique, but recognition. You can anoint your chest with oil, face the rising light, and vow to act with integrity even when no one is watching. He will not flatter you, but he will remind you of who you are. Now take a breath, and another. Feel the warmth behind your sternum, the quiet power of presence, the part of you that does not need to hide. This gate is not an audience, it is a flame, and it knows your name. When you are ready, the next gate will open. It does not blaze, it beckons, it rules connection, beauty, and the magnetism of desire. Its name is Venus. Chapter 6, Venus, the gate of beauty and desire. When you pass through the gate of Venus, you were given the power to attract. You were given harmony, softness, and the mystery of desire. You were given the longing for connection and the capacity to become magnetic. Venus does not command. She draws. She does not conquer. She entices. She teaches that beauty is not decoration, it is force. To pass through Venus is to receive the architecture of pleasure, to learn what feels good, what feels right, to recognize harmony not just as sound, but as sensation, as instinct, as truth you can feel in the body. What Venus gives is resonance, the ability to belong to yourself, and then to others. She teaches through contrast, through symmetry, through the echo of yes felt in the chest before it is spoken aloud. In the body, Venus lives in the skin, in the senses, in the tone of your voice and the curve of your gaze. She governs softness, fertility, scent, and texture. She is how you touch and how you wish to be touched. In the psyche, Venus appears as longing, as the need to be near what you love, as the ache of separation and the joy of union. She is the desire to be chosen and the wisdom to choose. You feel Venus when you're drawn towards something without needing a reason. When you dress for no one but yourself. When a song breaks your heart open and you let it. When you let beauty matter, not to impress, but to remember. Venus teaches that what is beautiful is not accidental, it is tuned, and that tuning is the work of a lifetime. In the world, Venus rules art, music, sex, elegance, perfume, devotion. She lives in relationships, but not just romantic ones. She governs how we relate to all things, people, objects, sounds, ideas. What we welcome, what we repel, what we allow near. When misaligned, Venus becomes performance. Seduction without sincerity, aesthetic without soul. You chase being wanted instead of being met. Or she collapses into bitterness, beauty that hardens into comparison, love that turns into envy, charm that turns to manipulation. When denied, Venus becomes numbness. You lose touch with what delights you. You stop hearing music. You stop feeling drawn. You forget how to be moved. To initiate through Venus is to reclaim pleasure as sacred, to choose relationships that reflect your values, not just your wounds. To cultivate harmony not through denial but through discernment. Venus does not demand perfection. She asks for coherence. The feeling when your outer world matches your inner one. To embody Venus is to radiate love, not as sacrifice but as natural gravity. To become the invitation, not the chase. To work with Venus magically is to restore the bond between body and spirit. Her day is Friday. Her hour often glows at twilight, when light softens and boundaries blur. Her colors are green, copper, rose. Her metal is copper. Her scent is sweet and comforting like rose or sandalwood. Her number is 7. To honor Venus, make something beautiful for no reason. Write a love letter you'll never send. Arrange flowers with care. Adorn your body without apology. Offer her your longing, not to fix it, but to feel it. Offer her your softness, not as weakness, but as power. Offer her gratitude for the moments you were seen, touched, cherished. You can call Venus with music, with scent, with beauty made deliberately and left anonymously. You can whisper her name while bathing, dressing, or gazing at something that stirs you. She will not demand. She will wait. And when you approach with sincerity, she will open the gate. Now take a breath, and another. Feel your skin. Feel your longing. Feel the gentle pulse beneath your ribs. This is Venus. She does not ask you to change, only to notice what draws you closer and why. This gate is not a mirror. It is a magnet, and you are allowed to move toward what you love. When you are ready, the next gate will open. It does not linger. It moves fast, speaks quickly, and disappears just as fast. Its name is Mercury. Chapter 7, Mercury, the gate of language and motion. When you passed through the gate of Mercury, you were given motion. You were given the mind, the voice, the ability to shift. You were given contradiction and the power to move between truths. Mercury is the only god who can travel between worlds. He speaks the language of the living and the dead. He is the boundary crosser, the messenger, the guide through shadow. To pass through Mercury is to receive the gift of translation, the ability to move between meanings, to find the thread inside the tangle and to read between the lines and then rewrite them. What Mercury gives is intelligence, not only of the mind, but of pattern, rhythm, association. He teaches not just through logic, but through noticing. He is the link between things, the hidden signal, the flicker in the corner of the eye that tells you more is going on than what's being said. In the body, Mercury lives in the nerves, in the lungs, in the hands. He governs breath, speech, coordination, synapse. In the psyche, Mercury is curiosity, restlessness, and the part of you that needs to understand. And once you do, needs to move on. You feel Mercury when you're speaking, and suddenly the truth appears mid-sentence. When you're multitasking and everything flows. When you shift personas without losing yourself. When you're 3 steps ahead of the room waiting for everyone else to catch up. In the world, Mercury governs commerce, conversation, language, translation, magic, lies. He lives in texts and tech, in puns and contracts, in messages sent and received, distorted and decoded. He is the god of thieves, but also of scribes, of tricksters, but also of initiates. When misaligned, Mercury scatters. You speak before thinking. You spin without landing. The mind races but never arrives, or he deceives. Words lose their weight. You manipulate instead of connect. You mask without meaning. When Mercury is denied, you grow rigid, fixed in thought, unwilling to entertain nuance. You begin to fear movement, to mistrust contradiction, to believe there is only one right way, and that you've already missed it. To initiate through Mercury is to become fluid without losing form, to hold paradox in one hand and dialogue in the other, to ask better questions, to follow the thread deeper, to listen not only to words but to the space between them. Mercury does not reward clarity, he rewards curiosity. He does not give you the answer, he makes you fluent in uncertainty. To embody Mercury is to become a bridge, a communicator, a shapeshifter who still remembers their center. To work with Mercury magically is to charge the air with intention. His day is Wednesday. His hour passes like a breeze, often quick, often unnoticed. His colors are silver, gray, and green. His metal is quicksilver or anything that bends and moves. His scent is lavender, cedar, or lemongrass. His number is 8. To honor Mercury, say what you haven't said. Speak truth where you've used silence as a shield, or choose silence where words have become noise. Offer a written message burned and released. Offer an insight passed forward without needing credit. Offer a cleverness that helps instead of confuses. You can call Mercury by writing in your journal until the truth reveals itself. By noticing the synchronicity that passes through your day like a riddle. By naming a pattern out loud and watching it shift. You can whisper his name before making a decision. Then listen to the echo in your gut. He will not answer directly, but he will point, now take a breath. And another, feel the air in your chest, the pulse in your fingers, the questions you've been carrying without asking them aloud. This gate does not close, and it slides, and it loops, it leads elsewhere. When you are ready, the final planetary gate will open. It moves with rhythm. It governs memory, mood, image itself, and the tides within you. Its name is the moon. Chapter 8. The moon, the gate of reflection and rhythm. When you pass through the gate of the moon, you were given change. You were given reflection, rhythm, memory, and return. You were given the ability to absorb, to respond, and to feel what isn't yours as if it were. The moon does not shine her own light. She reflects, she receives, she rules the image. Not because it is hers, but because she knows how to hold it. To pass through the moon is to be marked by flux, to wax and wane, to carry both shadow and glow. What the moon gives is the container of experience, mood, memory, pattern. She governs tides within the body and tides within the soul. She shapes how we remember, how we respond, how we feel safe or don't. In the body, the moon lives in the fluids, in the womb, in the stomach, in the tears that come before words. She governs fertility, digestion, and the cyclic pulse of life. In the psyche, the moon is memory, and not just what happened, but how it felt. She is instinct, comfort, nostalgia, the part of you that moves before thought. She is your habits and your inheritance. You feel the moon when you crave something you can't name, when the past returns as scent or mood or echo, when you look at something ordinary and it suddenly feels haunted or sacred. The moon rules dreams, not just the ones at night, but the daytime illusions you live inside. She rules the image, the imagined. She governs storyboards, screens, reflections, films, and fantasies. Any world of light that isn't solid but still touches us. In the world, the moon governs home, family, domestic space, cultural memory. She appears in the tide, the ritual, the routine, in what you turn to for grounding and what you repeat even when it no longer fits. When misaligned, the moon becomes a trap. You cycle without change. You cling to comfort that keeps you small. You drown in feeling without form. Emotion becomes identity, need becomes manipulation, or she vanishes entirely. You disconnect, numb out. You become brittle in your routines, untouched by what moves through you. To initiate through the moon is to learn how to hold feeling without being flooded, to honor memory without being ruled by it, to move with the rhythm of life instead of fighting it or trying to freeze it. The moon teaches that emotion is not the enemy of magic. It is the magic, but only when it flows, only when it is named, honored, and released. To embody the moon is to become a vessel, not empty but responsive. You do not take on what is not yours, you reflect it. You make it visible, and then you let it pass. To work with the moon magically is to enter the living current of your own psyche. Her day is Monday. Her hour moves, waxing, waning, hidden, full. Her color is silver or white tinged with blue. Her metal is silver. Her scent is jasmine, myrrh, lotus, or camphor, lavender as well. Her number is 2 and 9. Many like to work with the moon on full moons or new moons. For those seeking initiation, this is where to start, on the first step towards upward ascension. With the goddess who will help you see through illusion. To honor the moon, slow down. Track your feelings across time, not just in a single moment. Light a candle for your ancestors, cook a meal from memory, cry without explanation, sleep with intention. Offer her reflection, offer her rhythm, offer her the truth of how you feel, even if it changes tomorrow. You can call the moon by writing a dream down the moment you wake, by lighting a single flame at dusk and sitting in silence until you feel your breath again. By saying, I remember, and letting the memory surface without judging what it brings. She will not come when you call. She will come when you're still enough to notice. Now take a breath, and another. Feel the ebb and flow beneath your ribs, the memory in your muscles, the softness in your center that asks not to be fixed but to be felt. This gate is not a mirror, it is the tide, and it will carry you inward if you let it. You have passed through the final planetary sphere. The gates are behind you and also still within you. Now we return and reflect on what we have learned. Chapter 9, The Return. The descent was a gift. You have passed through the 7 planetary gates. Saturn gave you form, Jupiter gave you meaning, Mars gave you motion, the Sun gave you center, Venus gave you connection, Mercury gave you pattern, the Moon gave you feeling. You are not under their rule. You are composed of their memory. You are their expression refracted into time. Every thought you have, every desire you follow, every boundary you draw, echoes the path you walked on your way here. To work with these spheres is not to escape them, it is to understand them, to honor the pattern, to embody the pattern, and then to refine it. The descent was not a fall, it was a gift. And now the return is yours to shape. You carry the map, you are the temple. Let it begin again. Let it begin within.